We all know what happens when we boil milk. When you boil milk, the cream rises to the top. And after the league stage of IPL 2024, the two teams that rose to the top was Kolkata Knight Riders and the Sunrisers Hyderabad. Number one, number two. After the playoffs, the two teams who have made it to the finals once again, KKR and the Sunrisers Hyderabad. Sarvesh, it is just that these two teams who played so well over the 14 games in the league stage have made it to the finals, and it'll be probably a good, exciting, mouth-watering contest on Sunday in that big final.
Yes, top two. I mean, the entire sequence is just like the league table. Team finishing first, they qualified in the very first qualifier. They went to finals. Team finishing fourth, they got knocked out against team finishing third. Then team finishing third played against team finishing second, and then team finishing third got knocked out. So now team finishing second will meet the table toppers in the final. So I think no surprises there. Uh, I think I would say the two most deserving teams are meeting in the finals. So I think it's a fair encounter. Rajasthan Royals, they had their moments earlier in the tournament. They couldn't just continue that momentum. I think that's where they lost it. And I think if you look at the last 6 games, they have lost now 5 games. Just the win against RCB in the eliminator, that was their only victory. So I think that this is what happens when you lose momentum at the wrong time. So I think they will have to sit back and analyze this, because this has been happening very regularly now. This happened last season as well. They looked like they would qualify, but again they fell short. They I think they were restricted to only 14 points, and 16 points were needed last season. So again, in a similar story, they lost momentum at the back end.
Yeah, we've talked long and hard about the loss of form of Rajasthan Royals. When they lost those 4 games, came into this into the playoffs of the back end of not being very confident. There were always some question marks, about their form, whether um, they peaked too early in the season, and about peaking at the right time. And at the back of our minds, we always had that question mark as to, is this team in the right frame of mind? And on a day like this, you could see that there was nothing left in the tank as far as Rajasthan were concerned. We've got the summary in front of us. As you can see, Sunrisers Hyderabad batting first, putting on 175 for 9 in Chennai, and we'll come and talk about that pitch in a bit. But Rajasthan Royals falling short, 36 runs, which is a massive margin in T20 cricket. Henrik Klaasen there with a 50 for the Sunrisers Hyderabad, and supported by smaller contributions by Rahul Tripathi, Travis Head, and Shahbaz Ahmed, putting in an all-round performance. One thing that stands out for me during this game also, I mean, at the beginning of this game, if someone had said to me that Abhishek Sharma and Shahbaz Ahmed will bowl 8 overs between them, pick up 5 for 47, I I wouldn't have believed that. But there is one person who actually said this uh, before before the start of the game, and that person, Sarvesh. Sarvesh, what was your thinking? Where did that tweet come from that made you think that Shahbaz Ahmed and Abhishek Sharma will be effective with the ball today?
I think this is a pattern with the Chennai pitch. This is in the month of May, especially month at the back end at in third or fourth week. Normally, Mumbai and Chennai, these pitches they get very dry, and we see a lot of red soil in these cities. So normally these pitches will get a lot drier, and that will basically get the spinners into play. And it has been Chennai's history has been with the left arm spinners, that they always support left arm spinners. The moment there is some grip on the offering for the spinners. That has been the history with the left arm spinners, and not just left arm spinners, but in fact even left arm seamers who know how to bowl change of pace. Mustafizur, even today we saw Natarajan, and anyone who could do change of pace and bowl with that angle, bowl with that typical left armers angle, that they will find some help with this pitch. So I think that's what I felt that will be on the offering today, and I was surprised that actually Rajasthan Royals, they did not use Keshav Maharaj, And SRH, I expected them to utilize, like you said, Shabaz Ahmed and Abhishek Sharma. I expected them to utilize these two guys because Abhishek hasn't been bowling a lot in this tournament. But on a pitches where there is something for the bowlers, I think he could be a good option to bowl at least a couple of overs. So I felt that would come into play today, and today is not a bad day. Uh, I mean, if you just look at that batting top order from Rajasthan, there are not a lot of left-handers. Just one left-hander in Jaiswal, and at the lower middle order they have Hetmeyer. So I think it's a pretty straightforward lineup. All the right-handers who in that top order. So I think that's why I felt that left-arm spinners could come into play today. And I was disappointed at Rajasthan Royals. They did not use any left-arm spinners today.
Yeah, if we just go into that SRH batting effort a bit more in detail, we'll find that they didn't get the usual start that they
Yeah,
get from Travis Head and Abhishek Sharma. But the one thing that I found very interesting when I was watching the game, Abhishek Sharma got off to a flyer, but only lasted 5 deliveries. When he was dismissed, Rahul Tripathi came in and he continued the scoring rate. He got off to an absolute flyer again, but still scored only 37, got out. As soon as he got out, Travis Head took over the scoring because he realized somebody had to keep going and he kept going. And then when he got out, Hendrik Klassen came in and did that. So one good thing that they did do is that even though the pitch was gripping, turning, and on the slower side, they tried to keep that momentum going throughout that innings because I think somewhere deep down they knew what was a good score for this surface and how to get there. They probably, when they finished at 175 for 9, felt that they were probably
yeah.
10-15 short of where they wanted to be. But still, I mean, in a knockout game, in a virtual semi-final, um, it's it was still a good enough score to put on.
Yes, I completely agree with that. I felt SRH would have felt that they would need at least 185 or 190, but that is considering the due factor. But today I didn't say any due, so I think then that also sort of nullified that extra 10 15 runs. So 175, I felt it was just about par, just about par. I think they did just about enough to keep Rajasthan Royals at bay. So I think uh, again, now coming back to their batting performance, I don't think they were eyeing for 175. I think they were eyeing for their usual 210, 220. And I think that's where they started losing wickets at the top because Abhishek Sharma, I felt he could have probably waited for a few more deliveries to take chances because he had already got a 6 and 4 in that over. But this has been the way the Sunrisers have been playing. They don't care how many runs have been scored in the over before, so they just look every ball like a fresh event, and they just go after the bowlers. That this is what they have been doing. So I felt they were looking to get those extra runs. Rahul Tripathi, 37 from 15. I mean, it's a very underrated knock. Not a lot will talk. Not a lot of people will talk about this. Because Klassen was the one who scored at 50, but I think Tripathi was the one who gave them that momentum when they needed. Because Travis Head he was sort of stuck at the top. So I think that innings from Rahul Tripathi, selfless. I think he did a very good job there, and then I think again Henrik Klassen did just what they wanted. And again, they had a few cameos. They had Shahbaz Ahmed stitching a partnership with Henrik Klassen, and then that finish with from Cummins and Unadkat.
Context is very important when we look at scorecards because if you look at Shabaz's innings at the bottom there, you feel an 18 ball 18 towards the end of an innings. You'll feel that look, he's not done his job. But what you tend to forget is he came in at a time when they had lost two quick wickets. When Avesh Khan had picked up those two wickets in 1 over. And so he had to spend a little bit of time
Yeah,
consolidating with Henrik Klassen because he knew that he was the last recognized kind of batter in that order. So yeah, and at the end of the day, um, you know, they won by 36 runs, and that partnership, I think, between him and Klassen was the crucial one, which
yeah,
kind of helped them to get to 175. On the bowling front, yes, it was a slowish wicket. It was spinning a bit. Um, for someone who's watching this game and looks at the scorecard, um, would it be a fair question to ask that if Abhishek Sharma and Shahbaz Nadeem can do what they did, why can't Ravichandran Ashwin and Yuzi Chahal?
yes. I think, like I said, they missed finger spinners, so they needed somebody who can bowl with that angle, typical left arm spinners angle, and they had players who can do that, who could do that. So I feel that's one point. And now again talking about Ashwin, I think he was bowling inside power play, and that over to Travis Head, I think he did a good job there. But after that, it was Rahul Tripathi who just got stuck into him, and he scored quick runs against him. And after that particular onslaught from him, from Tripathi, I think he never recovered, because Ashwin was somewhere around 2 overs, 20 something, and after that, even the last 2 overs resulted into 20-24 runs. So I think he sort of just went ahead with that momentum that he got, that bad momentum which he had. And I think from a spinner like Ashwin, you expect him to, if you are bowling a defensive lines, then I think you expect him to bowl at least a few more dot deliveries and just create that pressure. It was not his day. People would have expected more because he was again a Chennai boy playing at Chennai. The senior pro knows how to bowl in this situation. So I think probably they expected more from Ashwin.
Another way of looking at that bowling card is also the fact that Sandeep Sharma and Avesh Khan actually have mirrored what Abhishek Sharma and Shahbaz Nadeem
Yeah,
did for SRH, but they just didn't get enough support from the rest,
yeah,
which kind of has resulted in that 175 score.
yeah,
Whereas when you look at that SRH bowling card, we'll see the kind of support that they've got, because in addition to Shahbaz and Abhishek, there's also Natarajan who bowls his 3 overs for 13. There's also Jaydev Unadkat who comes in, bowls in an over for 5 runs,
Pat
and Pat
Cummins. Yeah,
Cummins, bowls his 4 over quota for 30. So those two had a lot of support from the rest of the bowling attack, which is why we are seeing the result that we're seeing.
yeah,
Um, so in reply, chasing 176, and I have a feeling that at the start of the game, if RR were told that they'd be chasing 176, I think
yeah.
they
Taken.
would have taken
Yeah,
that,
absolutely.
because with the kind of batting lineup they have, you back yourself to chase 176. But things didn't go to plan. Kola Cadmo got absolutely stuck, just couldn't get going, and I wonder if he was suffering from some sort of um, heat exhaustion or something like that, because you could see him
Yeah,
between deliveries sucking in a lot of air and taking his time. He just didn't look right at the top there.
yeah,
Um, and one felt for Jaiswal, because he was at that time was going great guns, but just not getting enough of the strike when you need it.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. I mean, Jaiswal and Butler, they have been opening for them, and now since Butler is gone, they have TKC. And Jaiswal again, he is not scoring those 60s, 70s, which he was scoring last season. But I think this was again a good knock in a chase like 175. If your opener is scoring 42 runs at a strike rate of 200, then I think he has done he has done his job. Then the responsibility is on number 3, number 4 batters to sort of consolidate from there. But after that opening partnership, I felt Sanju Samson and Rian Parak, they had to get in and keep doing what the openers were, what Jaiswal was doing. But that again, Sanju Samson, we have seen this trend with the Indian players who have been picked for the World Cup squad, that they have they are sort of tapering off towards the back end of this tournament. We have seen this with Shivam Dubey. Now it is happening with Sanju Samson. Even Rishabh Pant sort of struggled at the back end, and I mean this is becoming a norm now. I mean I don't know what is happening, but I hope that they will the break that these guys will get in some next few days will do wonders for them. But again, now coming back to this scorecard, I think Sanju Samson and Riyang Parag, this has been their engine room for Rajasthan Royals, and they expected at least one of these two to get going. But when these two, because let's not forget, if you look at the leading run scorers chart, these two guys are there in that top 10. So basically, they expect any time something happens, these Rajasthan Royals, they expect these two, at least one of these two, to stay there and carry that game, take that game towards the end for them. When once these two got out early, I think we knew that they were in trouble, because then the responsibility was entirely on Dhruv Jurel, who did not disappoint. I think that knock was a very good one, but that he just couldn't get any support from anyone else.
Yeah, I mean, if you remember their bowling card that they had, and they had two people who stood out in that bowling
Yeah,
card, which was Avesh Khan and
yeah,
Sandeep Sharma.
very
Two
similar.
people again standing up in the batting,
No support.
Yashasvi Jaiswal and Dhruv Jurel,
Yeah,
but not getting any support from anybody else.
yeah,
One thing I would like to mention here is I thought Pat Cummins was brilliant today as a captain.
yeah,
We've seen him be a fantastic Test captain, led Australia to that World Test Championship. He's won an ODI World Cup in India. And just there were question marks around his T20 credentials as a player, as a captain, because he's not captaining
Yeah,
Australia at the T20 World Cup, Mitch Marshes. But he comes in here, he takes over Sunrisers Hyderabad and produces in his first season as captain, takes them to the final. The reason I thought he was brilliant today was when that wicket of, I think it was Sanju Samson
yeah,
fell,
yeah.
um, or was it?
I think it was Riyan Parag. I
Can't,
think it was. I think Riyan Parag.
I can't remember who it was, but there was one wicket which fell, and he immediately brought in Abhishek Sharma
Yeah,
into the attack. And the sole reason for bringing him into that attack was the fact that um, he knew the batters would their eyes would light up when they saw a
yeah,
non-regular bowler come in, and he saw an opportunity to pick up another wicket because they had to go after the bowling at that stage. And that to me is so
yeah,
good of him, because realizing that there's an opportunity here, seeing what the pitch is doing, and then he's done the math in his head and thought, this is a good gamble to take because I feel he can pick up a wicket. And lo behold, in his first over, he picks up that wicket. Yeah, so it's just something that I noticed, which I thought was very good.
yeah. I think
Um,
it was Hetmeyer who got dismissed by Abhishek Sharma. I think that was a very crucial moment in that game. And Riyan Parag also
y-
was dismissed by was Abhishek. So I think it was after Sanju Samson's wicket he brought
yes,
him on. And I mean, even despite that, a left-hander batter was in Shimran Hetmeyer, but still he persisted with the left arm spinner in Abhishek Sharma, who's sort of a part timer. I believe that he's more than a part timer, but still, I mean, he hasn't bowled a lot this season. But continuing with Abhishek, despite having Shimran Hetmeyer on, I think that was, like you mentioned, a good and smart piece of captaincy. I mean, not a lot of captains would dare to do that these days. So I think, yeah, credits to him.
yeah. Um, eh, with obviously, we've spoken about the fact that since Butler left, we had TKC come in. But you're chasing 176. You really need someone to get going at the top. And that innings of 10 from 16 balls,
Yeah.
not doing anything for his side. In fact, when you don't have a good power play because of an innings, because that's literally 3 overs
Yeah.
there in the power play, you cannot afford to do that at this level, can you?
Absolutely. I mean, apart from two batters, Jaiswal and Dhruj Jurel, nobody is even crossing 100. So basically, most of them have scored at less than the run a ball. And it
Yeah.
was just two batters who kept them in the game. And then apart from that, nothing else. Absolutely nothing else. Sanju Samson's strike rate of 90, 91 is basically highest after these two guys. And then the rest are in 40s, 50s, and 60s. So that's never a good sign for any team chasing 170, because let's not forget 175 is still it's still a good total to chase on a pitch like Chennai. And if you have two or three quiet overs, then suddenly that 175 that starts looking like a 190 or 195. So I think that's what happened from today. I think TKC, that knock did not help, and then they sort of sucked into that pressure.
If we look at the bowling card for SRH now, they should frame this up somewhere and take it with them to their team hotel and just look at this bowling card, because very rarely do you get days like this where the entire bowling unit has kind of put their hand up and chipped in. Even Aidan Markram, I thought he might have gone for 10, but he comes in, bowls an over, and puts his hand up. So, and it's not very often that you'll get Bhuvi going for 11 off his 3 overs. So yeah, you, he's going to be. Um, uh, those days are very rare. So yeah, things looking good for them. I think, as you rightly said, the pitch being dry now because of the heat, giving grip. The final's going to be played in Chennai as well, and this bowling attack could be an absolute handful come the final game against KKR.
Yeah, absolutely. You just have to match this against the KKR bowling lineup. Now KKR, they have two quality spinners in Varun Chakravarti and Sunil Naran. These guys, they have Shabas Ahmed, and I think I'm expecting Abhishek probably to bowl one or two more overs in the final. Then KKR have one quality Australian seamer in Mitchell Stark. Again SRH, they have Pat Cummins. Like for like, if you look at these teams, I think you will realize that they have lot of things in common. So I think it's not a surprise that these two teams are meeting in final. So I think I'm expecting a good game as usual.
Yeah, it'll be a battle between, I think, once again, SRH's batting versus KKR's bowling. Because when I look at both the attacks, I think KKR might just have the edge, especially with Varun Chakravarti and Sunil Narayan both being at the top of their game at this point of time.
Yeah,
Also, they've been Mitchell Stark is kind of peaking at the right
right
time,
time.
you
Yeah,
know, proving his worth of 25 crores, is it?
yeah, yeah,
So yeah, it'll be good to see how he goes. And he is a big match player. Come the final, he'll really get that white ball talking and swinging
yeah,
and doing all sorts of things. So it should be a great game.
yeah.
Anything else that we need to discuss before we wind up today's show?
So after the auctions, people were trolling KKR and SRH for how much they for the amount of money that they spent on Cummins and Stark, and these two guys they have taken their teams to final. So that tells you that you should not judge any signing immediately after auction. Let's let them perform and let's see what happens. So I I think I mean they have got these buys right. I mean we can say that now. I mean even if I mean we know that one of them is going to lose in the finals, but still, I think what these two have done for the teams, I think it's a brilliant job that they have done.
Yeah, I'm especially happy for KKR because after a long time they've kind of reached the finals and they look like the best team in the tournament by a distance.
Yeah,
Sunrisers Hyderabad obviously winning those two titles back to back in the South African T20 comp. But yeah, it's been a long time between titles for them too. As far as the
yeah,
IPL, the last time they won was in 2016, was it, with
yeah.
under David Warner?
Yes, and
Yeah,
KKR reached finals. I think in 2021. I think when CSK got that first title. Yeah, it was
yeah.
2021 which CSK defeated them, and then 2022 again it was Gujarat. So I think yeah, 21 they reached finals, but I mean before that and after that they had a pretty dry spell. And I think yeah, you rightly mentioned that it's after a long time they are looking like a team, looking like a formidable force. And I read somewhere that this is the first time that KKR have actually topped a league table. So that tells you that the kind of
Mm.
determination that they have shown this season.
Absolutely. If it talks about the great Gautam Gambhir
Yeah,
potentially being earmarked as Team India's coach for the future. We'll see how he goes in that final game. It'll be an exciting watch, one that you don't want to miss. And we'll be back with you on Sunday night and Monday morning in New Zealand, Sunday night in India to bring you all the analysis from that game as well. Until then, if you haven't subscribed, please do subscribe to our channel. We've got our social media handles there, so please do give us a follow. But yeah, until that final game, this is your host Rahul and Sarvesh saying thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you in a couple of days. See ya.